Today, I'm going to explain a drama thriller film called The Machinist. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Plagued with insomnia, Trevor Resnick begins to experience strange and unexplainable things. Trevor Resnick grunts as he finishes wrapping an unidentified body in a carpet. Later, he pulls his pickup truck over by the sea. Trevor hauls the rolled carpet out and carries it to the shore. When he notices a flash of light approaching, he throws the carpeted body in panic, making it land on the shore instead of the water. He weirdly kicks the carpet, letting it roll down the slope and unravel. Trevor could only watch the sight with wide eyes before he hears a man ask, "Who are you?" When Trevor turns around, a flashlight shines upon his bruised and beaten face. In a bathroom, Trevor frantically washes his hands using bleach and hot water. When he turns around, he sees a sticky note on his wall with the words "Who are you?" written on it. Later, a bruise-less Trevor is being pleasured by a call girl named Stevie. When they finish, he washes his face in her bathroom. As Trevor's putting his belt on, Stevie asks if he's okay, and when he asks her back if he looks okay, she tells him that he wouldn't exist if he looked any thinner. In response, he sucks his stomach in to show her his protruding bones, making Stevie laugh. She tells Trevor that there's still half an hour and offers to cook for him, but Trevor tells her he's tired. After thanking her, Trevor leaves a $100 bill before going. Trevor works as a machinist in a place called National Machine. Their foreman Tucker is walking around and rushing everyone, even at the expense of regulations. Trevor tells him to back off, then recites their safety procedure, prompting Tucker to congratulate him on making his crap list. At an airport diner, Trevor is having a chat with the waitress there named Maria. The clock hits 1:30, and the two flirt with each other until another customer calls for her. Trevor leaves his tip before going. At work, Trevor heads outside to smoke for a bit. He enters his truck, and just as he's resting his eyes, he hears someone speak from the car beside his. The bald man tells him he usually works in the pit there, but he's covering Reynolds' shift since he got picked up by the feds. Trevor zones out, and while his eyes are drifting to a close, the man suddenly appears by his window. With a large grin, he introduces himself as Ivan. After some time, Trevor is in bed with Stevie. They just finished hooking up, and he murmurs about how he hasn't slept for an entire year. Later at work, Trevor's coworker Miller asks for his help with a machine. While Trevor's assisting him, he keeps getting distracted by Ivan working from a distance. He catches Trevor's gaze, and with a smile, he makes a throat-slashing gesture. Dumbfounded, Trevor accidentally leans against a button, starting the machine up and causing Miller's sleeve to get caught by the mill. Trevor and his coworkers frantically try to shut the machine off to no avail, leading to Miller losing his arm. Stuck in a wide-eyed shock, Trevor slowly backs away and looks towards Ivan's direction, but the mysterious man is nowhere to be found. While eating in his kitchenette, Trevor comes across the final notice for his utility bills. He quickly writes a reminder for himself, and just as he's about to stick it to his fridge, he sees a sticky note with a hangman drawing and 6 blanks. Due to Miller's accident, the higher-ups investigate Trevor. While he's cross and uncooperative at first, he eventually admits to getting distracted by Ivan. Everyone in the meeting is confused, so he explains that Ivan's the guy covering for Reynolds. Tucker says Reynolds is just over there, and Furman firmly states that there's no Ivan there. In the airport diner, Trevor asks Maria if she has any Mother's Day plans, and Maria says she's taking her son to an amusement park. She adds that she'll let her son make it up to her when he's older. Trevor agrees, saying that a little guilt goes a long way, and when Maria asks about his plans, he responds with the cemetery. Feeling bad for him, Maria invites him to join them, and Trevor gladly accepts. At work, Trevor's coworkers are keeping their distance from him and eyeing him warily. While in their locker room, the others are poking fun at Reynolds, asking him what the feds wanted from him. Suddenly, their coworker Jones yells at them, telling them that the situation isn't funny and that he doesn't feel comfortable working with Trevor. He tells him up front that nobody wants him there, and Trevor could only say that he'll see them tomorrow. While he's making his way back to his truck, he spots Ivan driving away in his red sports car. After following him, the two of them end up in a bar. There, Ivan shows Trevor his grotesque hand. His fingers were maimed and replaced by 2 of his toes. Without addressing it, Trevor finally confronts Ivan about how no one at work knows who he is, but Ivan only laughs the matter off, suggesting that they're probably just playing a joke on him. When Trevor asks him to take this more seriously, he remains flippant, saying that Trevor caused the accident, not him. While Ivan heads to the bathroom, Trevor discreetly rifles through his wallet. He finds a photo and curses when he sees it. At home, Trevor gives Reynolds a drunken call while looking at a photograph of Reynolds and Ivan holding a fish together. He ominously tells him that the game is over and that he has proof on him, while an irritated Reynolds tells him to watch his back before ending the call. Trevor goes to his kitchen, then sees that the sticky note on his refrigerator has changed. It's still of a hangman game, but this time, the head and the limbless body of the stickman is drawn, while the letters E and R filled up the last two blanks. This bothers him immensely, so he quickly rips the sticky note off and throws it into the bin. With nowhere else to go, Trevor rushes to Stevie's place. Though Stevie is still with a client, she makes time to comfort Trevor. In the amusement park, Trevor's spending some time with Maria and her son, Nicholas. Maria's ex calls her, so she asks him to watch over her son while she takes the call. With Trevor and Nicholas alone, they walk around the amusement park. A monster ride called Route 666 catches Nicholas's attention, and though Trevor suggests that they should wait for his mother, the boy goes on ahead. While riding, Trevor happily tries to keep Nicholas entertained until he eventually sees a scare holding up a severed arm. Trevor's expression grows solemn, and after that, the figures get more personal from there. Against his instructions, Nicholas drives to the tunnel that leads to the highway to hell. The strobing lights cause Nicholas to get a seizure, so in a haze of worry, Trevor bolts out the funhouse with the boy in his arms. Maria rushes over to them and assures him that it's okay and that she should have told him that Nicholas has epilepsy. Trevor drives them back, and though he resents himself for taking Nicholas to the ride, Maria doesn't blame him. Finally, she lets him into her house, where they talk over a glass of wine. When her glass got empty, he offers to fill it up for her. Trevor heads to her kitchen, and as he's pouring the wine, he sees the clock hit 1:30. His demeanor changes, and he starts to look unnerved as he slowly walks to her fridge. He sees a heart-shaped Mother's Day card there, and beneath it is a stick figure doodle of Maria and Nicholas. Back in Trevor's kitchen, he goes through his bin for the hangman note. He uncrumples and stares at the paper upon finding it, then remembers the drawing on Maria's fridge. He takes his pencil to fill the rest of the blanks to form the word mother. In National Machine, Trevor spots Miller getting his settlement pay. When the man comes down, he approaches him and solemnly apologizes. Trevor asks the stone-faced Miller what he can do to repay him, and Miller tells him deadpan that he can give him his left arm. Trevor is silently taken aback, but Miller tells him that he's just joking. He assures Trevor that he doesn't have any hard feelings before leaving. Trevor watches him in silence for a few moments, then gets back to work, which Tucker just assigned to him that day. He sticks his arm into the lathe to work on it, but it suddenly starts up, almost tearing his arm off. He cries for help while the machine forcibly constricts his limb, but nobody's coming to him. Trevor keeps screaming as he desperately tries to free himself, and it isn't until Jones finally arrives that Trevor manages to break away from the lathe. Once freed, Trevor starts demanding to know who turned the breaker on. His paranoia is off the roof now, and he starts shoving everyone around him and questioning them all. After Trevor pushed Reynolds, the man shoves him back, telling him that he's imagining things again. Trevor instantly accuses him of knowing Ivan, then erratically goes through his wallet, trying to find the picture only to come up with nothing. When Tucker showed up to ask what's going on, Trevor attacks him. This quickly leads to Trevor getting fired, and his now former coworkers could only talk about how crazy he is as they walk away. Upon coming home, Trevor realizes that his electricity's cut off. He turns his flashlight on and starts rummaging through his things for the utility bill. He curses himself and continues to search for it while blood starts spilling from his refrigerator. Later, Trevor visits Stevie only to find her with a bruised face. She somberly calls it an occupational hazard, so Trevor takes her into his arms to embrace her. In his electricity-less home, Trevor lights a lamp up, then looks at the mirror. Suddenly, he hears someone trying to open his door, so he immediately grabs a vase, ready to attack his intruder. But as it turns out, it's just his landlady, there to complain about a leak coming from his apartment. She questions the terrible smell in Trevor's unit, but he insists that there's no leak. He abruptly ushers her out, then closes the door again. Afterward, Trevor hears the sound of water leaking, so he makes his way to his kitchen to check. There, he finds an absolute bloodbath coming from his refrigerator. Blood spills and leaks from it, and the sleepless man looks on in complete fear and disbelief. On the hangman note, the stickman finally has a single leg, while the blanks have I and L as the second and third letters, respectively. With his pencil, Trevor draws the stickman's other leg and one of his arms. Then, he fills in the rest of the blanks with Miller's name coming up. The following day, Trevor heads to Miller's address to confront him. He takes him to his garage and shows his brand new car, all funded by his settlement money. Impatient, Trevor cuts straight to the chase and accuses Miller of messing with his machine out of spite to seek vengeance on him. Miller tries to laugh Trevor's paranoia off, but when Trevor provokes him further, he hits him in the nuts. Trevor staggers back to his truck, and that's when he sees Ivan and his car in the distance. When Ivan drives off, Trevor immediately chases after him. They drive through a tunnel, and while Trevor tries to note Ivan's plate number, he almost gets hit by a coming truck. At the DMV, Trevor tries to ask for information on Ivan's plate number, but the man there told him that he couldn't disclose anything unless a crime's been committed. So with that in mind, Trevor went out and flung himself in front of a moving car. After his staged hit and run, Trevor limps to the police station. His face is busted as he goes to a cop to report the hit and run. While Trevor's waiting for the results, a man approaches him. He asks if he ever had his car stolen, to which Trevor says he hasn't. The man reveals that the plate number and the described car belonged to Trevor himself and that he reported it as being in a total wreck a year ago. This leaves Trevor in a daze, and when the man asks if he knows it's a felony to file fake reports, Trevor makes a run for it. With two men chasing him down, Trevor escapes to the subway station. He winds up by the entrance to the sewers, and with nowhere else to go, he opens the hatch to climb down frantically. Trevor later drives back to his apartment only to find the police outside his place, speaking with his landlady. Surprised, he quickly leaves. Using what little strength he has left, Trevor drags himself to Stevie's place, and when she finds him wounded and staggering in her hallway, he finally lets himself fall. In her bathroom, Trevor sits in the tub while Stevie cleans his face. Then, with complete sincerity, he tells her that he wants to make things work between them. This makes Stevie happy, and she tells Trevor that she loves him. After taking a bath, Trevor goes to Stevie's bedroom to sit on the edge of her bed. The two of them have a peaceful conversation, and while Stevie's talking, Trevor notices one of the framed photos. To his surprise, it's the same photograph of Ivan and Reynolds. This sends him in a fit of rage, and he aggressively confronts Stevie about it. Trembling, Trevor asks where Ivan is, then accuses him of being her ex and that he's just messing with him for sleeping with her. He starts being more forceful with Stevie until she looks at the photo and explains that he left it in her tip jar the other night and that the man standing next to Reynolds is actually Trevor. Trevor is in utter disbelief, and he quietly insists that it's not him. He almost looks like he's about to cry when he demeans Stevie, earning him a slap. Trevor doesn't stop yelling at her and Stevie starts yelling back, calling him a psycho and a freak as Trevor finally storms out. While driving away, Trevor remembers the time Stevie's ex called her, and she described him as a psycho. The word echoes in his head. Trevor drives to the airport, and there, he asks for Maria. An older woman tells him that he's chatty that night, then claims that there's no Maria there. She's his usual waitress. With everything he knows now falling apart, Trevor angrily slams his hand against the table, still demanding to see Maria. When the waitress insists that no Maria is working there, Trevor slowly circles the diner, yelling and asking if everyone's in on it. With everyone's eyes on him, he rushes back to his car. While Trevor's starting his truck, he sees Ivan driving in the same parking lot. He painstakingly tails him into the city. Ivan pulls over outside his apartment building, then opens the car's door. To his complete surprise, he finds Ivan helping Nicholas out. The two of them head inside the apartment, and Trevor immediately follows them. He opens the bathroom door and finds Ivan shaving with a knife. Trevor demands to know where Nicholas is, and a very amused Ivan tells him outright that the kid is dead. Furious, he tries to take the knife from Ivan, and after some struggling, he manages to slit his throat. Ivan collapses on the ground, his blood pooling beneath him. Trevor breathes heavily, then pulls back the shower curtains where Nicholas is supposed to be behind, only to find the tub empty. Finally, Trevor saunters to his bloody fridge, bracing himself to open it. When he does, a large, bloody, and sliced up fish falls to the ground. Flashes of Reynolds' photograph with the fish fill his mind, but instead of Ivan in the photo, Trevor pictures himself there, much healthier than he is now. Trevor almost chokes up, then rushes to wrap the body with a carpet. Afterward, he drives to the sea so he can dispose of it. With someone approaching him, he hurriedly kicks the rug down, only to panic when it unravels. When it fully does, however, the carpet is revealed to be empty. A flashlight shines on him, and he hears a man's voice ask, "Who are you?" But when Trevor turns around, he finds a completely living Ivan holding the flashlight instead. Later in his bathroom, Trevor is washing his hands while the flashlight is placed on his table. He turns around to look at the sticky note asking "Who are you?" on his cabinet before looking back at the mirror. Trevor sees Ivan's murky reflection standing behind him, and in a shaky voice, Trevor says, "I know who you are." Finally, his memory drifts back to the previous year. He remembers driving his red sports car at 1:30 p.m. While trying to light his cigarette with the built-in lighter, he accidentally crashes into a child resembling Nicholas. His Route 666 decoration dangles before his cracked windshield, and back in his bathroom, Trevor almost sobbingly repeats, "I know who you are." Then, a woman closely resembling Maria screams and rushes to her child. In his memory, Trevor could only look back in complete fear before driving away, not taking responsibility for the possibly dying child. Now that he remembers, all Trevor could do is curl to a ball, crying as he realizes that his uncontrollable spiral and insomnia were all brought by his guilt. After gathering his bearings, he takes the hangman post-it from his fridge, and this time, he uses his marker to complete the drawing and the blanks, leaving him with the word killer. After some time, Trevor packed all his belongings to donate them. He drives his truck with Ivan inside it, but this time, he's silent and even encouraging. Trevor makes his way to the police station, and upon his arrival, he reports a hit and run to the same officer from before. The cops take him along a stark white hallway, then to an empty and equally white cell. He tells them that he just wants to sleep, and when he slumps down on the bench there, his eyes slowly close. For the first time in a year, Trevor has finally fallen asleep.